GMO is an abbreviation for a genetically modified organism whose genome has been altered by the techniques of genetic engineering so that its DNA contains one or more genes not normally found there. 80% of our food contains some sort of GMO that you buy at the grocery store, and proponents of the technology point out there's not one incidence of human health issues. The USDA, the FDA, CDC, and the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization have all concluded that the technology is safe, and agricultural producers maintain that this technology is an absolutely necessary tool for them to be able to feed a growing world population. Shel Winkley has more in this week's From the Ground Up.
I'd encourage people. I like to do a garden myself, and I'd encourage people to grow a garden. But you can't feed the 300 million people in the United States all with backyard gardens. Plus the 50% or more of our crop that we send overseas to feed other people.
Travis Miller is the Interim Associate Director for State Operations for the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service.
And GMOs have provided the technology that has reduced the pesticide use, has reduced the insect damage to our crops, has improved the quality of our crops, so that we do have these. It's one of the many technologies that we're now using to get the kind of yields we have to continue to feed the world.
Genetically modified organism technology is invaluable to plant breeders.
If you look at what crops used to look like when we first started cultivating crops, they don't even resemble what we have today. And that was through traditional breeding technologies, pollen from one source and pollen from another source.
Problems that have plagued agriculture for decades are being addressed.
Now GMO is another important tool that a plant breeder can put in his toolbox and say, oh, well, what about this plant disease we have? Well, here's a gene that I can take from a spinach plant and put it in a grapefruit and solve a disease that is going to take the citrus industry out.
I'm Shel Winkley, looking at Central Texas agriculture from the ground up.
From the Ground Up is brought to you by Producers Cooperative, proudly serving agriculture since 1943.